our hands together. We are dignitaries for being here, taking that crucial time and sharing the knowledge with us. I would once again request the audience to kindly put your hands together. Thank you, sir, for being here with us and giving your precious time for this conference. I would now request Mr. Sudhakar Garu to kindly come and welcome and give us a theme address to the entire audience present here. Audience, I request you to put your hands together to welcome Mr. Sudhakar Garu, please.
There's a lot of education, erudition, and wisdom in this room. Good morning to all the leaders. I'm extremely happy today to extend this ceremonial welcome address and theme address. I have always wondered that if we are in education, we should also display, we should also behave in a manner that is befitting in terms of attaching certain values to certain norms. And therefore, we have fortunately kicked off this entire session sharp at 10 a.m. A big round of applause to all of you for joining us in time. All the esteemed guests, distinguished speakers, and valued participants, I welcome all of you. It's my honor to welcome you to the significant gathering hosted by FICCI Telangana. Today we come together with a shared commitment to advancing education, fostering resilience, and adapting to the evolving challenges that define our times. Your presence here underscores the importance of our collective mission to empower the education system, and education, as you know, is the cornerstone of thriving society. Any society would thrive on education. It is through education that we empower individuals, students who grow up to become citizens, so on and so forth. We nurture innovation and build the foundations of our future. The theme of this conference, resilience and adaptability, navigating challenges in education, could not have been more pertinent as we confront an era marked by rapid change, technological advancement, and unprecedented global challenges. Every time we speak, we say that we are going through a very turbulent and challenging time. But I'm very, very sure that even if we meet here after 25 years, we are going to talk even then that is going to be much more challenging because the VUCA world is going to be much more VUCA, the turbulent world is going to be much more turbulent, and the challenges of the time is what we are supposed to handle, and that's what education is supposed to empower all of us with. The journey of education is one of perpetual evaluation, and as we navigate through the complexities of the 21st century, it is imperative that our education systems are not only resilient but also adaptable. Beyond jargon, I think we need to see greater relevance and meaning when we go back and apply in our own institutions, when we handle students, when we handle academic leaders, when we grapple with regulatory norms and comply with them and evolve towards a better educated society, I think we will have to adapt quite a bit. And resilience ensures that our systems can withstand shocks and stresses. As I mentioned some time back, education does not prepare you for day one soon after you finish your education. I think it prepares you for the unseen, unforeseeable stresses and shocks. And that's what is based on education, and that's what all of us together are working relentlessly to provide. Not just in the context of Telangana that we are talking here. Although the host is FICCI Telangana, we are talking about issues that are relevant to the entire country. The leaders that we are going to take part in the sessions throughout the day are from across the country. So the agenda for today with them has become very, very robust, starting with this inaugural session. Uh, I have always been enamored by Professor Jagdish Kumar, who is here, the chairman of University Grants Commission. I was also asking him some time back. I have observed him over the last couple of years. With a lot of speed and alacrity, he takes decisions. And he also bothers to take feedback of those decisions. He takes to social media and announces those things. He reads, that's called social listening, and then responds to them. I think one leader doing so many things tells a lot about what kind of system, what kind of leader we are blessed with. Thank you very much, sir. I'm also extremely delighted to sit next to Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy, founder chairman of Scient. He's been on the boards of several IITs, IIT Hyderabad and IIT Roorkee. I've had an opportunity of meeting him on his book launches earlier, discussions earlier. We have held a leadership conversation with him at FICCI as well online. Ever since I have known him, maybe around, say, 20 years or so, and till now, he looks exactly the same. How these leaders are managing stress, how these leaders are navigating the challenges of business, life and time and age and everything, and still manage to look very peaceful, and he's just ready to deliver the jam that we are waiting for him to deliver. Welcome, sir. We have Mr. Suchindra Kumar, partner and education sector leader at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. I had an opportunity of writing a foreword to this report, and I'm eagerly looking forward to see the report being released and also the presentation to learn from what are the significant areas in which Telangana education, the FICCI Telangana is driving to look at in partnership with Government of Telangana as well as Telangana Council of Higher Education. I think those are very, very important. I'm also enamored by the stats that you have brought to the report. I'm privy to those stats. So before writing that, I had an opportunity of looking at that. So it's a very, very interesting report. All of you should take some time to read through. Throughout the day, we will engage in a series of panel discussions and interactive sessions, as our MC has mentioned. I want to make a note of one significant factor here. That is, we will be joined by our esteemed chairman of AICTE, Professor P.G. Sitaram, very soon. We will be joined by Dr. S.S. Mantha, former chairman of AICTE, currently the emeritus professor, BJTI. Professor Uday Desai, Professor Emeritus and Founding Director, IIT Hyderabad. Professor Mahendra Reddy is already here. Welcome, sir. We will be joined by many other distinguished leaders. Professor Shanthisri Dhulupudi Pandit, Vice Chancellor of the esteemed JNU, is going to be here in a very, very interesting conversation and discussion. We will be having workshops next day, and we are going to talk to a very, very interactive session that we have planned with the education attachments of various embassies in India, namely USA, UK, Australia, Germany. So the next few days, 2nd of August today and 3rd of August tomorrow, we will have wonderful conversations, discussions and learnings. Please participate, raise your hand, ask questions. You will have all the answers. I think any conversation, any symposium or conclave should have probably unanswered questions if it is so, rather than statements that are unquestioned. On this happy note, I once again welcome all the distinguished leaders off the stage and on the stage, and have an enjoyable sessions today and tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a brief intro and the welcome address. I would like to introduce our next guest, who's already on the stage, but just want to give a brief intro. IFAP priority areas such as multilingualism, information for development, information for ethics, etc., has enabled him to build national and international network. And here I speak about Professor J. Prabhakar Rao Garu. So can we put our hands together for Professor J. Prabhakar Rao Garu, the co-chairman at the FICCI Telangana Education Committee. I request Sir Sudhakar Rao Garu to kindly step forward and present him the sapling for being here with us today. And I request the audience to join in for welcoming him with a big round of applause, please. And adding to this, we would also like to introduce our another guest. He is a partner with over 22 years of professional experience in public and private sector education consulting. Some of his notable projects include support in Diksha project, rollout at various state levels, vision and roadmap for the higher educational policy for the state of Andhra Pradesh, and also setting up of PMU for improving quality in higher and technical education in Jharkhand. And I'm speaking about Mr. Suchinda Kumar Garu. Please put your hands together to welcome him here. He is the partner and education sector leader at PwC. And I request once again Sudhakar Rao Garu to kindly step forward and present him the sampling.
Thank you.
We would now, without any further ado, let's move on to our next segment. It's about the keynote address. We are going to have Professor N. Jagdish Kumar Garu, who is going to throw some insights into the unique characteristics and challenges of education sectors in southern India, fostering regional perspectives. So let's welcome him with a big round of applause, everyone.
Thank you very much, my distinguished colleagues and representatives from the industry, academicians, and other distinguished invitees. First of all, my thanks to FICCI Telangana for inviting me to be part of this today's event. I particularly liked the two words that they have chosen in the theme of this conference, resilience and adaptability. To understand the meaning of these two words, we need to look at the comprehensive picture of the need for providing high quality education to our young population in the country. And this picture has two sides. On one side, the question that is coming frequently in our minds, the kind of future that all of us we would like to have. What kind of future we would like to have? Obviously, we want to have a future which is sustainable, secure, peaceful, and healthy. We are all on the same page on this. But on the other side of the picture, you also have issues related to the challenges that all of us are facing. For example, the growing population and the increasing demands for clean energy, clean water, food, access to health facilities, access to good education. And then we have the challenges of the multidimensional poverty, the extreme poverty, the economic systems becoming unstable, the climate change. We are all fighting to keep the rise in the global temperature below 2 degrees centigrade as compared to the industrial era global temperatures. So on one side we have our aspirations, and on the other side we have the challenges. And this gap can be built only when we education to be problem solvers and solution providers so that the challenges that we are facing, we find out appropriate solutions to this and realize the dream that we have set for ourselves, a sustainable future. In order to do this, we need to bring a lot of reforms in our educational system, starting from school education to the higher education. And we are fortunate that today we have this vision document called the NEP 2020, which lays a roadmap for us on how we can achieve the dream that we have set for ourselves. And the fundamental objectives of this NEP 2020 are very clear. They are, we would like to provide learning outcomes-based education to our students. And we want to provide personalized education to our students. And we also need to provide this education at a mass scale, considering the number of students that we have. These three requirements may appear to be contradictory, but there are solutions to realize that. When you provide access to high quality education on a mass scale, it is bound to enhance the societal competency levels. That will enhance the productivity levels. That will enhance the strength of the economic system. And that will help us to invest more funds into the education so that we reach out to even larger number of people. In control theory, we call it positive feedback or regenerative feedback. And this is what we need to do. But however, when you look at the higher education sector, out of 4.3 crore students that we have, nearly 94% of the students are in 482 private universities, 487 state-funded universities, and 130 deemed to be private universities. And unless we bring transformation at the state-level education, we will not be able to realize the dream that we have set for ourselves. So how do we do that? First thing, of course, we need to understand that our teachers are the foundation of our educational system. We must do the capacity building of our teachers. We have already launched the Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program, and it's a free online training program. My request to all the educational institutions is encourage your teachers to take these capacity building training programs. We must ensure that the research ecosystem in our universities is strengthened. I was surprised to see when I took up the chairmanship of UGC that in a large number of universities, there was no concept of R&D cell. And we brought out the guidelines, and I'm glad to inform you that now hundreds of universities have established the R&D cells. Today there is a greater need to train our younger faculty on how do you write a successful project proposal. Less than 25% project proposals get the funding. Funding is highly competitive. How do you ensure that our younger faculty have good knowledge about commercializing their own research by converting into a prototype, by starting a startup company? Do the universities have a good IP policy? UGC has already come up with the guidelines. The other challenge that we face in our university system is the use of the conventional ways of conducting our business, whether it is student admission, whether it is your finance or the administration. There is a greater need for you to move on to use digital platforms. Today we have built, the Ministry of Education has built Samardh platform. It has 18 ERP modules to manage every aspect of your educational institution. It is free for all government institutions. What stops you from adopting these free digital platforms? You must come forward and invest your effort in this to transform the way you govern your institutions. As I said, when we want to reach out to a large number of students, using just the physical mode of education is not sufficient. You must gear up yourself to train your teachers to create digital content. They should not just become only the consumers of digital content. There is a greater need. Today we have about 85 universities which are offering ODL and online programs. We have nearly 150 universities in our country. Why can't more universities come forward and offer the online education? Nearly 60% of the colleges in our country are in rural area. 45% of the universities are in rural area. And they do not have good faculty members to teach the students in emerging areas. But we have a huge DPI, digital public infrastructure, by the name FAM. We have 3,000 courses. UGC has already permitted that if the students are registered on the ABC portal, students can take up to 40% of their degree requirements, the credits, from this FAM portal. We have 4.3 crores, but the numbers need to be pushed up, and your role is very, very important. Friends, all of you must have heard about the large language models. Today, there is an emerging area known as prompt engineering. Thousands of prompt engineers are required by the industry, but our universities are not ready to offer such courses. And prompt engineering, although engineering tag is there, you can train a commerce student, you can train a language student, you can train a psychology student to become prompt engineers. We must ensure that today, because of the huge gap that we have between the skill set that the students get from the education in the universities and the requirement of the industries. And that is leading to not unemployment, but underemployment. There are a huge number of jobs, but the students are not ready. One of the top priorities for UGC now is therefore to provide skill education to our students as part of their degree programs. We are working with many content providers in the industry, both in the technical and the non-technical areas. We have recently launched a portal called SWAM Plus so that the students can take the courses from the SWAM Plus and integrate it as part of their degree program. What if I am a BA history student? Why not I take 20 credits in media and entertainment, 20 credits in logistic management, 20 credits in data science? This is the kind of multidisciplinary skill education that we need to provide to our students if we want to make them job ready. Friends, as I said in the beginning, it is the state university system, whether they are private universities or the government-funded universities, which must be strengthened. But unfortunately, we see that in many of the state universities, the faculty appointments are on the backbench. There are huge vacancies. The vice chancellors are not appointed on time. Recently, I had a meeting with the heads of the state higher education councils from across the country. After the meeting, a couple of heads of the state higher education councils, they told me, we feel so happy that UGC has called us and held this meeting. sense to us. The state higher education councils have to be strengthened. Why not they be the entities which can provide funding to the state universities instead of the state governments directly funding the state universities? Just as we have the HIFA for the central institutions, why not the state governments also form a state level HIFA system so that the state universities can focus on creating better infrastructure, meet the operational costs of the universities? Friends, there is a greater need to strengthen the state universities. The state universities also need to work on better industry-academia collaboration. We have introduced the Professor of Practice scheme. I know in Telangana, nearly 75 Professor of Practice have been appointed in the state universities. This number is to go up. This is how you can approach the industry. You can have a window to see what is happening in the industry and build better rapport with the industry. Having said that, industries also need to come forward. They also have to proactively work. For example, just a couple of days ago, we have launched the MATS platform, National Apprenticeship Training Scheme platform. All of you, the industries, have to be part of this MATS scheme. Every head of the educational institution should ensure that your students are onboarded and then a matchmaking happens. This is how we can transform. Otherwise, as was mentioned by Professor Rao, we will only keep talking. Even after 25 years, we will keep talking unless we take risks, unless we face the resistance that comes in the system and keep implementing. My dear friends, there are many, many things that need to be done. We have the biggest demographic advantage in our country, and unless we speed up our efforts, unless we all work together, there is no way we can transform our higher education. If we want to make our country a leading country in the technological development, in the economic development, we all are implemented at a rapid pace. And meetings like this will definitely provide us a forum to look at the challenges that we are facing and what kind of efforts that we need to put so that we see the change that we all like to see in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such fruitful insights with our distinguished leaders. Before we move to the next segment, I would like to introduce our guest, whose contribution has introduced many UG courses in emerging areas with the employability skills, as well as his reforms like the degree admissions through DOST, Student Support Service, SAVS, Faculty Development Program, which is FDP, and he's also a national award winner for the Annual Case Study Award 2012 at Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi. And I'm speaking about Professor Limbadri Garu. Let's put our hands together for Professor Limbadri Garu and welcome him here. He's a chairman at Telangana Council of Higher Education, Government of Telangana. I request once again Sudhakar Rao Garu to kindly step forward and welcome him with a token of thanks. And yes, audience, you know the drill. Thank you, sir, for being here and giving your precious time. Let's now quickly move to the next segment. We have a speaker who is going to throw light on the future of work, preparing students for some unpredictable job markets. And here we welcome Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy Garu, the founder chairman at Client and chairman board of governors at IIT Hyderabad and IIT Roorkee. Thank you.
Dr. Jagdish Kumar Garu, Professor Sudhakar Rao, Dr. Limbadri, several other guests on the dais, several educationists and guests off the dais, very important people that I see in front of me. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. At the outset, let me congratulate FICCI for taking this initiative of doing a conference on empowering education ecosystem, which I believe is the need of the day, but equally importantly is also choosing a theme which is all about resilience and adaptability and navigating the challenges in education. So Professor Jagdish Kumar said he liked those two words of resilience and adaptability. But I'll start from the other extreme end of the same sentence, and that is all about the navigating the challenges of education. For me, there are going to be several challenges that are in the near horizon, far horizon, a horizon which does not seem to have an end. We will continue to have challenges with our education system in several years to go. So why are these challenges coming in? It is because there is change, and this change is constant, and this change is evolving a lot more rapidly than it was in the past. So what are these changes which are coming in? Certainly, yes, all of us put our finger on one called technology. Certainly, yes. It seems to be evolving at a pace which has never been experienced by mankind. We don't know what gets experienced further, but as of now, that's where it stands. I think probably it moves on to say we never experienced so far. And certainly, as a result of that, the change of technology, the job landscape is changing. And newer jobs are emerging. There are jobs which, when I started my career, which are very common. You don't even hear about them. An example called stenographer and a typist. Where are they? They're not there. They used to be very famous. I used to run an EDP center for a multinational called Bosch in the early 80s. I used to have an army of what they were called data entry operators. Where are they? They're gone. And certainly the new jobs are appearing at this point of time. What are these new jobs? You never heard about cyber security specialists. You never have heard about data scientists. There are people who are AI analysts. More importantly, you see one other trend. And that trend is there is multidisciplinary nature in terms of our requirements from the industry. What are these? You look at an automobile engineer. In some ways, it becomes interchangeable between the word called mechanical engineer. I'm one by training. I'm a mechanical engineer. Proudly, I keep telling people. What did I learn? Learned a lot about IC engines. Carnot cycle, Otto cycle, enthalpy, entropy. And you look at what is on today in the EV marketplace, the transition that we are seeing. An automobile engineer requires as much as mechanical engineering knowledge as is electrical, electronics, software, sensors, and so on. So it wasn't change that we can't stop, which is making these jobs disappear, is technology. We also see one other change that's happening, which is rapidly coming in, is basically the global economic change. Countries are aging. Countries are becoming younger. India has the advantage of demographic dividend, whereas the European countries are aging at this point of time. The profile of the worker has to change. So the result is jobs are changing. So jobs in India will also change. You look at jobs that change because of an economic impact that brought in by COVID. We started working from home. We started this new breed of engineers, breed of jobs called the gig economy, where part-timers can work for many people. A third one is that we're also seeing shifting in industry demands. How many of us have paid our attention to sustainability? It's a recent past. There's a new breed of science called circular economy. I have a service offering from my company which is circular engineering. When you design, you also need to know ahead of time how much of it is residual that's going to be let back into the environment compared to the rest of it which is reusable. That is a science that's new. And finally, there are also societal changes that are happening at this point of time. Societal changes which are to do with we need to have diversity, we need to have inclusiveness. So these are the ones which sum total of it. The impact is there's change and the jobs are definitely going to change in coming years. I'm not an economist, I'm not a sociologist either, but I know a little bit about technology. So let me then paint you a picture of what I see as jobs as we move forward. Before I get there, I should compliment Dr. Jagdish Kumar for all the thoughts he shared with us. I haven't had a chance to see his speech, but pardon me, Jagdish Kumar Garu, but I'll speak in the same tone as what he did. Similar thoughts I have, which also reflects back how consistent the leadership in this country is in making sure we achieve what we have as a vision in front of us. Let me step back again to what I see as the impact of technology. The first is enormous amount of economic impact that's there. There is automation, there is robotics. That's the first one. And these, several people believe these are replacing jobs. To me, no, that's not true at all. They are complementing the jobs. They are definitely being a position to do something more, better than the human beings. The quality consistency and the precision that we're seeing in manufacturing today was not possible by a naked human eye. So is the case with e-commerce. Look at the change that we have. We do not wait in lines. We don't need to go or online platforms. Electricity bill was a pain for us, all of us. It changed. You can do it few seconds. Or gas booking used to be yet another thing that I know in my early days of life. Or a guy used to never pick up the phone, forget about delivering gas to you later on. What is it now? Just one missed call. That makes the trick, right? And at times I get very surprised myself. I do that for my wife, my family. And instantaneously, as the phone shuts off, there is a message that comes back, invoice is generated. Look at the economic benefit, how efficient we have become. We're also seeing a lot of social changes. Large get-togethers of this nature are good. The personal contact is important. Have become fewer. How frequently do you meet your friends? Because you communicate all the time on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and so on and so forth. That's a societal change brought in by technology. We also, I think Professor Jagdish Kumar talked about it, is education is also being driven by e-learning. Swayam platform, he mentioned about it. And the Swayam platform, actually there's evidence around the world at this point of time that online education is increasing dramatically. Or probably if not online, I'll say hybrid education, certainly yes. So what we're seeing happening at this point of time is that in several areas, people are migrating to it. That's a big benefit that technology has brought in. And we've also seen a lifestyle changes for us with technology. With a smartphone, I don't need anything else. A couple of days back, there was this debate between senior executives of computer software companies, which is more important, is the smartphone and the wallet. And unequivocally, people came back saying that smartphone is the one which is the life decider. Once I have that, so we are all dependent on a smartphone driven by technology. So technology has had enormous amount of change, impact, economically, socially, and also in terms of our lifestyles. So what is this technology, and will this technology stop now? The answer is no. It doesn't seem to be there in the near future. You look at this, and we can get back to very specific technologies, the general purpose, which have a fairly large impact across every industry that you can think about. Which are those four: computers and storage, communications, sensors, and AI and the associated algorithms. And these are moving at a pace, again, that it was Gordon Moore who actually made this law called Moore's Law. We keep saying Moore's Law is on steroids at this point of time, because Gordon Moore said the speed of the machine will become speed will become double, size will become half, price will become half. It isn't true any longer. So is the case with communication. We talked about, GSM, it went into 3G, 4G, 5G, and there are several people, colleagues of mine in the IIT system right now working on the 6G models. And these ugly looking small devices called sensors have put zillions of data for us now into space, real time. And what is the outcome of that real time data? Then I can start working on that data to ensure meaningful, real time decisions are being made. Including, it goes to the extent of doctor. Now, we talked about telemedicine in the past. What's true right now is called telesurgery. Doctors are having a digital twin in front of them. The stylus is moving on the body of the digital twin, but actually the knife is moving on the patient 10,000 miles apart. If there is a bleed, he can use a cauterization instantaneously, because on a 5G technology, the latency is less than 2 milliseconds. So this technology is going to be more powerful. I don't know how many of you are aware, the 5 richest companies in the world by market cap, 5 richest companies in the world by market cap are all technology companies. There are 3 of them which exceed $3 trillion of market cap. To give you a related data point, what is $3 trillion? $3 trillion is the GDP of India. And then 2 of them are in excess of $2 trillion. It's Microsoft, it's Apple, it's Nvidia, it is Google, and it's Facebook. Oh, sorry, it's Amazon. Facebook is a little further down. So therefore, what we're saying is that technology will play an extremely important role as we move forward. And the pace of this technology, to give you a flavor of how it is moving, I'm sure Professor Jagdish Kumar Garu mentioned about ChatGPT. How many of you use ChatGPT? Can you put your hands up, please? Very impressive. Thank you. Thank you very much. But I think it should be a lot more, because the amount of productivity it is giving to people is enormous. The latest statistic I saw is 5 billion users are there for ChatGPT. But here is the statistic which really threw me out of my feet when I saw it. ChatGPT took 5 days to get 1 million users. And if you want to compare it with Apple, which is the one, the popular one, Apple took 44 days before they got their 1 million users, or Facebook took as many as 10 months before they got their 1 million users. And what is ChatGPT doing right now is in 5 months, they got 100 million users. It's a reflection of pace of technology, the trifecta of user usage and the developer, if you look at them. That's what the combination of that is giving these results. I think people think what was popular before ChatGPT was TikTok. TikTok took 9 months, twice the time, to get to 100 million users. The first company that we know in the universe that hit $2 billion of revenue in the first 12 months after the launch That's what we see as the technology influence all around. So what do we need to do? Two things I'll call out. One is, what is the skills that we require in our students as we move forward with this complete juggernaut of change that I've been describing to you? Number one is that we need to start engaging our students to get into the mode of thinking. They should get into critical thinking, creative thinking, design thinking. We can't live in this world, trust me, with our rote learning methodologies. So therefore, one expectation I have is that we should definitely move in terms of ability for people to think, analyze, and then solve the problems. It can't be, I read it in the textbook, I warm it back on a piece of paper for all of you. The second one is what is there on the screen too, is all about adaptability. Adaptability because we think there's so much amount of change that is happening at this point of time. People have to adapt to new technologies and new skills as quickly as possible. And that has to be a mindset shift to ensure that it becomes a reality. And a third one, which we have to make people understand, is that learning is not going to be one time. It's the past. You got a degree and you said, degree is good enough for me, I can live my life thereafter, is not true any longer. The world is all towards micro degrees, certificates. As you change it, I'm a strong believer you don't need them either. I strongly believe in it. I think I don't know whether it will happen in my generation, but it will probably happen in your generation, where people will say, what's use of degrees? Let's understand what your passion is. What are your skills you have? I'll show you what I have as a job of mine. If you match between them, you got the job. You continue to be productive. You continue to be innovative. You continue to create value for my organization, you'll be with me. Otherwise, you find a job and I find a new guy. So therefore, I think it's very important to ensure that our children start learning the art of lifelong learning. Their mindset has to be there. I think it's a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. It says that I eat as if I live for, I die tonight, sorry. I eat as if I die tonight, but I learn as if I will live forever. So that's what I think my expectations are. The three things is critical thinking, adaptability, and lifelong learning. So what are the interventions that we require to do? Conscious of the time, I'll finish off. I think I'm very consistent with Dr. Jagdish Kumar. The first and the foremost, he said, and I'm aligned to what he said, and I think it's a crying need at this point of time. I did have a conversation with him too when I went to see him in the recent past. Is all about faculty development. I think the key is in faculty. There are very popular Chinese proverb which says, don't give me fish, don't give me fishing rod, teach me how to make the fishing rod. The teacher is the teacher. So therefore, what we need is the upgradation of skills of teachers. That I think is Herculean task, rightly so. Dr. Jagdish Kumar pointed out about NEP 2020 has many of these elements which are certainly there. The second one that I feel, and my headline news all the time, my headline for some of these speeches, is that the future is all about student-centric experiential learning. So the teacher has to become student-centric. It's not anymore. Learning is teacher-centric. It was true in my generation. One teacher, one class. If I miss something from him, I don't have a resource anywhere else. Now you have several alternatives. You can learn anytime, anywhere. So therefore, the teacher responsibility is to ensure it becomes student-centric. And the student has changed too. There is enough of evidence at this point of time to say in 12 minutes they lose attention if you don't engage them. So if you say that, look, I will give one speech for 50 minutes, 55 minutes, and then clap and say, the finished, class is done, the guy learned nothing. He says, this is the most boredom stuff. I teach too. I'm not teaching so much as I used to do, but I teach. 12 minutes, I can clearly see people slowly, sheepishly removing their cell phones, texting if the class is not interesting. If the class is interesting, you never lose the attention of the child. So therefore, the second one is bring the focus onto the student. And a third one that I'll call out is experiential learning. We need to have this hands-on learning of people. I'd like to congratulate the Telangana government, which announced the Skill University yesterday. But I think what is future is that it is not just the skill which is take us to places. It has to be the traditional education plus skills will be equal to knowledge. It cannot be just skills will do the job or just knowledge will do the job. It has to be a combination of them. And I think, again, Dr. Jagdish Kumar wrote a very nice article over the weekend. He was kind enough to send it across to me. He writes very frequently. Please follow him on the Twitter and all newspapers. Very well done. He talked about this apprenticeship programs, which is announced as part of the budget too. And what is that we want to do there is making sure that he talked about maps. So I've been a very strong advocate of maps so far. In NASCOM, which is the IT industry, we have about 150,000 apprentices at this point of time. But I think we need to think through the scheme of what has been announced. Because if you do the math of 500 companies and 5 years, 1 crore, it works into a staggering number of you need to train 4,000 of them, which I think we need to think through these a little more carefully. But certainly, I think experiential learning, hands-on, is something which is important, which I think we need to place our students towards. You also, either part of that is getting professors of practice. The third one I'll call out is all about flexibility in terms of learning. I think we need to do a lot more of it. There's one which I think I'll call out is we implemented something called fractals in the IIT system. So you have a course of heat transfer or 4 credits. You can break it up into 1, 2, 3, 4. And the student can just take off. You can discontinue that course after he finishes whatever he likes. He or she likes, it's of interest to them, they continue. Otherwise, they don't. So I think we have to give that enormous amount of flexibility to the student to say, learn what you are passionate about. So therefore, why are we saying, 100% of the courses are to be in core? No, we said, no, please, Mr. Reddy, we've changed. Yeah, I know we've changed. But I keep saying, I want 100% flexibility to the student. Fine, I think we're compromising now. In the IIT system, it's 60% is core, 20% is engineering options, and 20% is non-engineering options. Again, who am I to dictate this? Let the child decide what he or she likes. That's what I think we should all go towards. And we talked about the necessity for R&D. I think that's a very good call out that Dr. Jagdish Kumar made. And R&D, I think, is an effort. I keep saying some of the professors become startups. But equally important is the industry needs the technology. So I started an initiative called the R&D Fair in the IIT system to start with, but now it's open. Last 2 years I've done it as the chairing that particular committee. And what are we doing? We're showcasing the best of technology that's available in the higher education system to industry. Last time we showed 150 projects. We had 2,000 footfalls. We have 60 active engagements at this point of time. Because one of the things people have to recognize is that R&D requires money. And money cannot just be one-way street from government into education institutions. That has to be monetized. And monetization will happen only when you find customers for the work that you've done. So these are some of the interventions I feel are very critical for us to make sure that we can address this issue of the uncertain world, uncertain job environment. If you prepare these students to become more adaptable, more resilient, they can definitely face all these challenges. But the key lies that it is not just the onus or responsibility of education institutions alone. It has to be a joint effort of this complete society, which means it has to be policymakers, it has to be industry, it has to be academia. Since I see both industry and academia and policymakers, Mr. Lombardi is here as the chairman of the Higher Education Council. My request to all of you is let's join hands and work together to build an India which truly will go towards Viksit Bharat. I think several good things that are happening. The Vietnam report that World Bank has released. They talked about several challenges we may have in years to come, but they called out one thing very well. They said Atal Innovation Mission, the Government of India's initiative, was an outstanding effort. That's what they called out in the World Bank report. So there are good things, but what we need to do is execute all of them. And it's not an effort for one single individual. It is for all of us as a society. So thank you very much again, FICCI, for inviting me, and good luck with the rest of the sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your expertise and insights on the topic which has actually captivated our audience. Next, I would like to call upon Professor Lombardi for giving this special address. He is the chairman at Telangana Council of Higher Education and Government of Telangana. Let's put our hands together to welcome him here.
Good morning, everyone. The FICCI is organizing a conference on empowering education ecosystem, the resilience and adaptability navigating challenges in education. It is a great initiative. I congratulate them. And we have two tall academic leaders in this meeting as a guest. Professor M. Jagdish Kumar Garu, Chairman UGC, and Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy Garu, a founder chairman of SEENT and Chairman Board of Governors, IIT Hyderabad. Both are very academically sound and committed people. We have rich experience with both of them. In recent times, Professor Jagdish Kumar Garu is a man for reforms in continuing education. Every month, every 20 days, university will issue some or the other guidelines or circular to make changes in teaching, learning, and other policies concerned to the higher education institutions are concerned. We are happy that both are here, and we have colleagues from industries, Chuchandra Kumar, and my friend, Professor Sudhakar Rao Garu, and Prabhakar Rao Garu. I also have my colleagues, Professor Mahendra Reddy sir is here, Professor Venkatramana, Professor Sriram Venkatesh, Professor Apparai sir. So many distinguished personalities are in the meeting. The meeting is industry-wise for policy change in the context of education. It is an industry have a voice. What they have voice, their voice is to send your students for the industry who will have the skills, who will have the knowledge, who will have the adaptability, who will have the multidisciplinary approach, who will have the knowledge ecosystem to adapt in the industry circumstances. So that's why the industries have voice for the policy change, and it is a right time and it is a continuous process. The change is a constant. We are all know that every time we have to change. according to the needs, according to the requirement, according to the changes around us. So, the change is a constant and reforms continues to be done. When we admit the students have a lot of aspirations and every student wants success. Every student wants success. Those who are coming into the institutions, particularly higher education institutions, they want success. And the parents also expects from the academic institutions, definitely the institutions will shape our children to become employable, to become knowledgeable, and definitely they will become a great citizens of this country. So, definitely, as Professor James Kumar Garu and Mohan Reddy Garu said, this is a student-centric learning. When you look into a democratic country, the whole policies moves around citizens. When you look into a capitalist country or capitalists, they look into a consumer-centric thinking and activities are concerned. When we have an education system, it was established the policies for the students. So definitely it should be a student-centric one. All the policies trying to make education for the student success and student-centric teaching learning methods are concerned. So the present challenge is with industry and academic collaborations. As rightly said, Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy Garu, industries and academics should work together. And what level and how best we can connect, we can map the requirements, locations, and needs of the students is a big challenge. And the second one is the technologies. Technology is speed changing. How best we can adapt to the education institutions. To me, the UGC chairman are time again all efforts to build the institutions with the technology. But still, we have a challenge, many institutions not updating themselves to adapt the changing technology to meet the expectations of the higher levels are concerned. Another challenge we can see the mobility of the students. Students don't want to stay where they are. We have been looking, when we admit into the different streams, most of the rural colleges are closing down and most of the students, rural students are coming to the urban. In around Hyderabad and Rangareddy, Medchal, more than 80% of engineering colleges here. And most of the degree colleges are here. And people environment also like that only. So how best we can understand this mobility, not only the national and state level, the mobility at the international level also. And a diversity in learning, that is also expecting from the students. This is the challenges we can discuss and we have been discussing and time and again, and we have to work out on these lines are concerned. Particularly in the context of Telangana, I want to make a couple of my experiences. The Telangana, the students have more aspirations to become engineering in the country. This is I think a right forum, UGC Chairman Garu and B.V.R. Mohan Reddy Garu and all other elderly persons are here. 3,55,000 students appear for the MCET examination in Telangana, whereas in the first phase only 2,88,000 students were passed out with intermediate level. After that, in the instant examination, 60,000 only. But 3,55,000 students are. Another important thing is, and the engineering admissions also there a lot of demand for the computer science education is concerned. The pressure, the whole institutions are trying to make available of the seats in the computer science or in computer science courses. students and parents also want only in computer science, forgetting about the core engineering is concerned. The Telangana government or Honorable Chief Minister have taken policy to protect the core engineering also. Another important observation in Telangana uniqueness is commerce. Most of the students at undergraduate level, those will conduct admission online for all degree courses in Telangana, that is called those. Out of 2 lakhs 10,000 students, 80,000 students in e-commerce. This is the very place of Telangana. I think it may not happens any day. And around 14 lakh students pursuing their studies, higher education in Telangana. We are all aware that our GR is good, 40%. And particularly for the women, we have more than 41. We are number one in the country in GR for women is number one. So keeping this aspect, as our UGC chairman has said, apprenticeship. The Telangana Higher Education Council introducing the skill embedded courses with the apprenticeship program, that is BBA, Medical Management, BBA Logistics, like that, and our students also undergo initiative, and it is we have a good response for that. The another initiative in recent times is BFSI, banking, finance, insurance services, and the consortium had MOU with the State Council of Higher Education, and the government of Telangana also issued a GO to make it more effective implementation. They have identified the degree colleges and engineering colleges for the second year. They want to provide training, teaching, learning, and internships and employment opportunities. We have about 10,000 students, 5,000 for the BA students, 5,000 for the engineering courses. Our engineering institutions introducing this as a minor subject in their curriculum. And as Mohammed sir said, the Telangana government has visualized the requirement of the skills for the nation and the country. New India Skill University is starting in the Telangana. Our Honorable Chief Minister get it approved in the Assembly, that bill, and made the Bhumi Puja for the establishment of the Skill University in Telangana. And we are also trying to develop the curriculum in collaboration with the foreign universities like Wales universities, Bangalore and Hybiztv University, and Usmania and Kakati University developed the Become Finance course and also BA special course to make the implementation of the curriculum to meet the expectations of the international standards. And also, we are trying to introduce the courses with the industry and academic collaborations wherever we need. We have the members from the industries in Board of Studies to develop the curriculum. Not only to develop the curriculum, we are also inviting them as a professor of practice or as a guest lecturers or for the faculty development program when we design the new courses are concerned. These are some of the initiatives we have been taking in Telangana State Council of Higher Education is concerned. With these few words, once again, I congratulate the organizers for making a wonderful event in Hyderabad city. Thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such fruitful insights and the future endeavors of our Telangana government. And now let's step forward to the next segment. Today's we have a knowledge partner who is going to address the gathering, Mr. Suchindra Kumar Garu. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. He's the partner and education sector leader at PwC. Please welcome him with a big round of applause, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. And a very great listening to the dignitaries on the stage. I think they have a very valid viewpoint from the industry perspective and from academic perspective. Fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not an academician, neither is PwC, but what we try and support is looking at how can we improve the system from a process, capacity, and learning from each other perspective. And that is what I wanted to present today. We've done a paper which will be released in just a little while on the status of education in Telangana. We're covering both school education and higher education. And we've tried to identify so Telangana as a state. You know, it's the youngest state in the country. I'm sorry, can we have the presentation there? The presentation on the report, sorry. So Telangana is the youngest state in the country, we all know. And it's done great strides in the last 10 years of its existence, right? 10 years back, the GR of Telangana, especially in the school education, lagged behind the national average. It was way behind the other South Indian states. Today, it's far ahead of that. You know, you've done well in reaching that stage. It's a fairly young population. You know, 40% of the population is under the age of 25. These are people who would be interested in education. You know, in all parameters in terms of economy, in terms of economic growth, Telangana's done well, you know, better than the national average in most cases, right? However, you know, where do we lack? You know, one of the questions or topics which were given to us was what should be the vision for Telangana education system, right? Do we have an answer in the report today? No. We just want to leave you with some of the viewpoints that we could think of. You know, can we look at, when we look at people like Australia, when we look at states like Karnataka, which are states right next to you, a large part of the GDP and the economy itself is driven by education. In fact, Australia, there was this one report which said education is the third largest sector of the economy, purely by the revenues generated. Education in India is a public good. We are not looking at revenue generated directly by the fees paid by the students. But what it does help is Australia, another report mentioned that almost 30% of the tourism revenue happened because of the education sector. So you get one student admitted into Australia, you have people, their relatives, their friends traveling to Australia to meet over the next 4-year period. So can we look at education as a sector which gives a certain percentage of the economic growth? It could be driven by the inbound students from other states. It could be revenue from there. It could